Today, we're starting spring here in Minnesota. Pretty excited about it. Today, I have a guest speaker. It's our first guest speaker, and it's our own lovely Miss Brooke Wheeler, who's our Director of Social Media. Welcome, Brooke. You have some really great information to tell us today about Facebook. What's happening in the land of Facebook today?
What isn't happening in Facebook? Aren't we all just hanging out on it a lot these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for saying hi. So kind of the new thing that we're noticing right now is if you're someone that is managing your own Facebook ads manager and you're doing some of your own advertising, you may have noticed in the screenshot you'll see over there that your ads may be getting declined a little bit more frequently and may be causing a little bit more of a headache as far as managing your ad account. We're seeing that happen as well. Because we're in the health industry, we use a lot of the keywords and buzzwords that are connected to kind of our current health crisis that we're having in our country. So Facebook has cracked down on what they're allowing through. So we've kind of, there's some ways to get around it. We're working with our clients and, you just kind of have to put a little bit more energy into making sure that gets through and it gets visible to people that need it, because obviously you guys have a lot to offer as veterinarians for your pet owners in the medical realm right now, and for information to get to them is very important. So if you have any questions on that, of course, we're here to help, but don't be alarmed if that's happening. You're not breaking it. It's something that Facebook's doing to protect consumers in general, to make sure that they're not getting marketed the wrong information as far as what's going on with all the stuff right now medically. So that's what's happening.
That's awesome to know, because again, I noticed that internet's slowing down in places.
Right.
So many people who are working from home, and everybody's just trying to cope with this.
Mm-hmm.
But how can Facebook help us? Like, we keep talking internally about our teams and to our clients that you need to stay engaged. People are going to remember who was here for them. People are going to remember who helped them reduce their fear load, right? So what are you guys seeing that actually is working, or what are some tips or a tip today about Facebook and staying engaging with your own pet owners?
Yeah, so that's a great insight. I'm sure, like I mentioned, you guys are probably all spending a little bit more time on social media. And something that we're noticing, because we're in it all the time, every day for our daily life, is that because everyone is on it so much, there's so much coming through feeds. And so typically, we're not, and a lot of when we're working with practices, we're not putting out quite as much content on their own practice feed. But what we're seeing is the need for more engagement. You want to update your clients on what's going on, of course, with important updates and things that are happening in your practice. If there's a protocol that you're changing because of everything, then of course that's important to update. But also what's really valuable, because you're not getting as much face time to engage with your clientele. Your pet owners aren't coming in. They're not bringing their pet in for you to, hold and engage with them. There's a lot more barriers physically in place to keep everyone safe. So it's really important to make that connection virtually. So what we're seeing is the more we put out some social engagement, we're building relationships. We're trying to be there, trying to help you guys as veterinarians be there for your pet owners, and have a little fun too, because people are getting exhausted with a lot of information. So get on there and have fun, connect with people, let them feel known. Say you see Fluffy's parent on there and you want to say, oh, we really miss seeing Fluffy come in. How's she doing? That really goes a long way. I know for me, even as a consumer, if I feel like some place that I do business with is acknowledging my presence when I engage on their Facebook page right now, it goes a long way. And what that does is it builds loyalty, and it's going to remind them that you're there for them no matter what. And so, as we get through this, that relationship's going to come out stronger on the end. You're not losing the value of, what we might be missing right now in person.
True, exactly, because what you and I are doing right now is pretty much what we got, right? Yeah. Depending on lockdown areas or the restrictions, and that varies from different geolocation to geolocation. we're hearing a lot about different ways of connecting people online so we can have that face-to-face, right? And so I know that we've discussed internally here at Beyond Indigo is starting like Facebook Lives for clients and just having these moments, right? And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You and I have been laughing about different things like that have happened, but really it's about being your authentic self, right? Being able to reach pet owners where they're at because, we're all at home. Let's be real. It's really hard to think that and if you're not at home, people are kind of wondering, why are you not at home? Right? Unless you're a medical facility like veterinary hospital, and if you come in scrubs, then that makes sense to people. But aren't we just having a moment here? Just, being online. It's kind of, right?
Yeah. And and I think you made a really good point of not being too hard on yourself about being so calculated and perfect. I mean, if you can see, we're learning how to mirror each other. Like we're not even doing this perfect, but it's about being authentic and showing up. And that's what people appreciate. That's what people value. That's what people connect to. So don't get this isn't a space to get so stressed out about all of that to do. You want to be professional and you want to make that connection, but you also want to be yourself because people can see through that as well.
I think even more so in times of crisis than other times. I think we have a much more authentic meter of there being true and authentic than maybe not so much, right? And it's just a psychological thing. But that kind of leads me into the message of messaging and marketing to self today. Because you and I were having a conversation about this, about what people are telling themselves and maybe being a little bit too hard on themselves.
Yeah.
I noticed we have a local hardware store here. It's like a Home Depot, but it's more of a Midwest region thing. It's called Menards. The lines were long because of social distancing, but I need some time standing in line, right? So I spy what's in everybody else's carts, a lot of home improvement stuff. We're home, but weren't you reading something about that today that we can share in comments?
Yes. So we'll share that article in comments. But I was reading a blog this morning or an article about the title caught my eye because it said, I'm not going to do anything productive right now. And I know that I don't know if you've heard this on your end, but on my end, I've had a lot of questions about what opportunity you're going to take in this time to accomplish. Are you going to start writing a book? Are you going to finish all those home projects? And what was interesting about this article was that it was addressing the reality of the mode that we're in. And so many of us are kind of in crisis mode. I mean, let's just be honest.
Right.
And physiologically, your body is going to be more tired. It's going to be more overwhelmed. And so not to pressure yourself to just be on and be perfect and get it all done, but to really allow yourself to have that space and not to do those projects and not do that stuff, but to really just take time and check in with yourself and go, you know what, I really just don't need to start this right now. But if you feel like you can have the capacity and it's a great thing to do, that's wonderful. But really just about being aware and self-aware, because typically we go into, fight or flight mode. Well, we can't do any of that right now. So our body is kind of reacting in ways and we can't ignore it. It's not healthy for you to ignore it. So that was the article. And it was really good because I think I've heard so much about, what are you going to do with this time? How are you going to, and you want to come out better. We have a choice, right? But you also want to be mindful.
We do want to be mindful, but we also got to be mindful this could be a long haul, right? Like you were saying, flight or fight, right? That our bodies can only physiologically sustain that level for so long before something gives, right? And let's be honest, if our body breaks in other ways than COVID, there's not a lot of capabilities to go get healed right now. Plus you're kind of worthless for your pet owners, right? If you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your pet owners and their babies.
Yeah, that was a really interesting thing that you just said, because it triggered something in that article. So it was talking about how, your stress hormones. So when your stress hormones are high, your cortisol levels are going up and your immune system gets compromised. Therefore, if you were to get sick, your body can't actually fight what you get ill with because your cortisol is trying to attack your stress. So it's really important to make sure you're, doing what you need to do to manage your stress right now.
I agree. So kind of like to sum up, the marketing message to self today is be easy on yourself. Be realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen to self. Make the choice that keeps you healthy and in balance first so that you can be there for everybody else on a long haul, because partly the problem is we don't know the end date.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that we've got a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. I mean, every time you look in the paper or wherever you live, there's maybe a different storyline or a different narrative of what the timeline is. Well, that adds to our stress level because we don't know how to manage that, right? So instead, you got to just assume that today is today and take care of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks, Brooke, for joining us for these 10 minutes. It was a delight. So have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.